Welcome back to Resistance of the Threshold, session 11, titled Preparing for Battle. Last session we ended in the middle, or in the midst rather, of a meeting amongst the guild masters of Gateneath, hosted by the mayor of Gateneath. And if I recall correctly, the only other person that was included in the conversation therein would have been the guildmaster, the magnate of the town, um, Michael Vine. Um, that said, we kind of leave off where we're at. We were kind of just addressing the things that you wanted to address, and if I recall correctly, the last thing that you wanted to address was the guild mastery, or the creation of a guild rather, that would be ran by Eric,
Eric of the Vale.
and it would be a laborers guild. And some people, specifically Darna Greenbottle, as kind of the main, the head rather of why that's not a good idea, has fielded her arguments to counter, and the reason for it is labor in the sense that we're discussing, moving heavy objects, is very much something that is required by all guilds and is already performed in many instances and paid for and kind of tracked by those guilds. It doesn't make sense to partition it further. So, yeah, Kevin and Zach, you are both there to um, counter those arguments, and try and work in favor of uh, Eric. But like I said last time, the mason and stonecutters are not for it. The glass blowers and glaziers, which would be Green Bottle, are not for it. And the cooks and bakers are not for it. The painters, limners, and sign makers don't really care. Doesn't concern them. They typically just give the articles over to whoever purchased what they're selling, um, and don't really pay much attention to it beyond that point. The dancers and entertainers, if they're lifting something, it's probably another dancer or entertainer. So that's usually done by a dancer or entertainer. And then the cobblers and shoemakers, again, don't have much in the way of. Oh, you're muted. Still?
I imagine
Oh,
there are specific instances where laborers are needed for setting up and breaking down like outdoor venues and things, right?
uh,
If they
most of the
like
time they kind of just do their own thing. They don't really
okay,
have anybody. I would say that the least,
or like set pieces.
sure, I would say that the least, but even still, dancers and entertainers, the people who
Yeah, I
you're
guess
kind
they
of,
do it themselves,
they're
and they
the
wouldn't.
grips are a part of like that's the right term, right? Grips are people who
Yeah,
are on the, yeah. Those people are a part of the group. They're not being like, you know. I would say the least offending guilds of the guilds that are present here would be the calligraphers and the entertainers, probably the two primary ones that don't
right.
really suffer here or care. The cobblers and shoemakers have laborers, but are for it. Like they're okay with Eric. Like they've already kind of treated him with kind of due diligence, in delivering, certain things to
Hmm.
certain places. And yeah, the cooks and bakers are fine with it too. But it's primarily the glaziers, the stone cutters, who are, oh, and the,
You said cooks and bakers are against it.
yeah, I'm sorry, that's what I meant. My
Yep,
brain did a dumb where I
that's
was
okay.
saying cobblers
I've
twice.
got notes, making sure we're on the same page before we get into me
Three guilds are
politicking.
against it. Two guilds don't care either way, and then everybody else is for it. So
Excellent.
at current, it's a situation of the threes have it.
Okay, so my understanding is that the issue at hand is you already have laborers employed. correct?
Accurate.
What what is your concern with transferring that labor from your own employ to its own individual guild, therefore not needing as much supervision, not needing as much independent management over these individuals, and it'll be simply an invoicing process similarly to how transfers between our organizations work now?
Hmm.
You're taking a lot of the oversight and management and putting it onto Eric to handle with these distribution of labor, distribution of units. Think about how many times you've had 4 laborers on your employ, and you really could have done the job with 3. This will allow us to better distribute those resources amongst each and every one of our guilds so we can all employ those who are able to do that physical labor to the best of their ability. And imagine the amount you'd save if you were using 1 or 2 laborers for smaller tasks and then had the opportunity to employ 6 or 7 on events where you needed that extra labor, no?
An interesting point of view. Rilka says as she kind of like mulls it over in her head. There's an immediate response after her kind of statement from the guildmaster of the Cooks and Bakers, an individual named Aphagrat Holtzclaw.
Mm-hmm.
And he says in response, but there are laborers to pay. With a guild, we would have to determine rates based on what they demand. We set the payment price for our laborers, what it is worth to us.
Of course. And what happens when one of those laborers injures themselves? Because I imagine in your line of work it's quite dangerous and quite technically important that they know how to maneuver around hot ovens or how to handle product without contaminating it. And imagine how much more easier it'd be if you had that set rate for every single one of them. So training and all of that was already pre-established for any new employee, as opposed to determining, well, this man has this much experience, so he gets this much, and this much gets this much. Think of how it'll simplify the onboarding process for you to take on these more difficult recruiting tasks, no?
Hasathan, the dwarvish leader of the Masons and Stonecutters, kind of chimes in and says, I have a concern. We train our laborers to be aware of these dangers. We already take this into consideration. And I suppose, similarly, we do not pay them terribly well, and I assume we will be paying more, or perhaps, as you say, less, depending on how you look at it from a transactional point of view. But I suppose my main concern is if we were to pass over the control management, as you said, over to Eric here. Would he be willing to hire on the laborers we have, and we could just ship them over to the guild, or would they be new laborers that we would have to then train to operate with us, respectively? As you said, hot ovens and that.
Eric is welcome to speak for himself, but I look to him.
Eric says, "Well, of course we would take them on. Not a problem. It's not our hope to cause anyone to lose their jobs for untrained individuals. We very much want trained laborers to join the guild, just as you would want trained vintners to join your guild, and you would also want people who are capable of writing and reading to join your guild." And Espen kind of nods, just bobbles in the air, really, in response. And you can see Rilka kind of coming around a bit more, and Holtzclaw replies afterwards and says, "Yes, but I don't want to relinquish my laborers. I do not mind having them on hand and ready to act in my interests for my bakers, if it's needed immediately." Eric doesn't seem to know how to respond to that, but
Well, if you're tasks on a daily basis require a certain number of laborers, then you'll be granted those laborers. We wouldn't want to diminish that. The only difference would be the opportunity to call upon more should that need arise. We're not looking to cut you off from the access you have. In fact, our only goal, I believe, Eric, is to provide you an opportunity to quickly access an additional pool to do simpler, more additional tasks. Think about any maintenance that might need to be done on the outside of your building, or any cleaning that could be done around the other parts that are away from the dangerous areas. There's opportunities to relieve yourself of some of the more laborious tasks that you might want to avoid to focus on the skilled aspects of your labor, no?
You see Eric kind of chime in right after, and he says, "I think Guildmaster Holtzclaw's main issue is that he has a very specific view of laborers. Wouldn't you agree, Master Holtzclaw?" And you see him kind of look at Eric, kind of annoyed at what he said. And he says, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And Eric says, "A number of my friends from the farmlands have been stopped from working ever again due to some of the things that happened in your kitchens. You don't exactly compensate them well if they are injured on the site. So you were asked a question by the mayor, and you kind of stumbled around it. We want fair representation amongst you because we're not being treated fairly by some." "What do you mean, we? I don't hire anyone from your guild. It doesn't exist." Eric kind of, "I mean to say, I would hope to protect people you are predating on." Holtzclaw says, "I want no part in this anymore. I'm not interested in vouching for this, nor am I interested in this ever forming." And Roka kind of annoyedly kind of just chimes in, "Shut up. He's right. And it's been far too long since we've... It's taken us too long to realize it. It's absolutely crazy that we've been treating them like they're beneath us. And it seems for some reason, Master Holtzclaw, you've taken some sort of pleasure in it. I have not, and I do not. That's not true at all. Just prefer it the way it is. Rather not change anything. It just seems convoluted and messy. Not necessary."
You've been here this whole meeting. War is upon our door. Things are going to get convoluted. Things are going to get messy. This is the new reality we live in.
Lucas
It's
says,
not a choice.
"I vouch for the boy." And Eric says, "I'm a man grown." She smiles. "However you like." Afrograd kind of sits quietly with it, and Hasathan says, "I too will change my vote for the affirmative. If you will take on my laborers, and you will make sure that they stay with us, and if possible, train more. We definitely have had some labor shortages of late, so perhaps an influx of that would be of interest for us, at least. Especially with all the work we've been commissioned to do as of late by the council, working on the underkeep and what have you."
Of course. Mikael, you've been quiet.
Intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just kind of been sitting back listening to all the sides. And I think that what would be best is to let this change, move on in our little town, because it's the right thing to do, and it's actually going to end up benefiting everybody in the end. It's just the right thing to do. So I'm all for it.
Well, that seems to be it then, Rilka says. Congratulations. Eric nods. I I I can't express how grateful I am to hear you all vote in the affirmative, those that did, and we will make sure that everything is handled with expert care. Thank you so much. Um, After some discourse, um, um, uh, s- I don't know if that's showing up on screen or not. I hope not. But that's great.
Yeah, I hope not. It's good. Let's shrink that screen if it's showing up here.
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, it's fine. That said, you work out the ins and outs with the guild masters on preparations. Was there anything more fine tuned, finely kind of specific that you want to deal with?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then that said, the meeting concludes. I believe that was the last matter for the day. It was the intent of the town to send out our new friend Dusk to scout.
Yep.
And was there anyone else we were sending out to scout?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Wait, I thought one of Summer's kids was going to go out or something. I don't know.
No, they're with they're in the brothel.
Oh, I thought you're at some town internship or something.
Town internship. What?
It was like one of your kids got in the town
Kevin.
internship.
What are you, high?
What?
You crazy?
That's not that bad of an idea.
More than fair.
Yeah, they got a town internship at the brothel.
Very cool, very cool.
No.
That's one hell of an internship.
I mean, it's a lot. It's a very pounding and rigorous internship. It can be
Do
very.
you get paid or do you pay? That's the question.
I mean, depends on how if you're taking it, I guess. Phrasing also, yeah. Just all over the
What
place
did they
on that
start?
one. I don't know. A lot of cleaning. That's friends in the chat. But yeah, if there's nothing else that you want to kind of accomplish for the day, I'd say that would probably end the day. It was definitely a long one. Remember, we started back with explosions at the gate, and then kind of moved through.
Oh, that was just one day, wasn't it?
I have one.
Go ahead.
I have one item on my agenda,
Yeah,
and that's doing research about the Dennis admins.
perfect. Go ahead and make a history check.
Did I do this already?
Maybe, yeah, 17 plus 1.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think I covered it like very briefly and quickly, kind of just said that wasn't enough because it's very kind of deep lore-ish. Yeah, there isn't much about the Dennis Advents in this library. You know that if you can access a different library, be it at a different town or different location, the two that are kind of jumping quickest to mind would be Calot and
Air
Monastery. Yeah.
Okay.
Okie dokies. So yeah, sleepy time. You get Morax. You would get
Drunk. Oh, sorry.
Also, yes, but Morax, you would get notification from the. You would know that the Knights Errant are engaged in the same endeavor as Dusk. They've already been commissioned to go out and see what the army's forces are like.
Okay.
And Dusk is doing likewise, and also mustering the Rising Suns. With that being said, the next day begins. Evangeline very much kind of takes it to heart that engaging in the leadership of the town needs to be done kind of from a forward-facing front kind of like attitude. So for the entirety of this session, she will be at Morax's side when he is engaging in his normal processes. She states very much at the beginning of the entirety of it. I'm coming in low. What? States very much at the beginning of it that she is not here to inhibit you from doing anything, and she does not want you to act outside of your normalcy regarding anything that she would be endeavoring in the lead up, in preparing the defenses, anything that you'd be doing. But she's very much with you, and kind of putting her best military boot forward.
Okay.
Oh, I get it. Okay, Andy, I understand. Kevin, I'm coming in low, and Kevin is coming in pretty high, right? Is that what you're saying in the chat?
That's hilarious.
The audios are kind of skewed. It's your joke. Anyway, who wants to do anything during the next day? Anything you'd like to do? Anything you can think to do? Any goals? Any plans?
Is seppuku on the menu?
No, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
you can
It's
always.
way too early in the campaign for that.
Yeah.
Session 2022, maybe.
Right.
I wanted to make sure the Masons took a good look at our wall for any weaknesses or any things that need to be addressed. That was going to be something I actively supervised.
Passathon says that he will have that be the priority for them today.
Fantastic.
And you'd see very
But that's it.
you see very quickly on they kind of get to work on it.
We did have a list.
Elizabeth was about to say something. I don't know what she was about to say.
Oh, I was gonna say, Summer would want to check on Violet in the brothel and see how they're doing. And then I think
Hey.
she was supposed to talk to someone. Gosh, it's been so long. Oh, it was Evangeline's dad to help with traps in the area.
Absolutely. Very good, very good. Roland is ready to kind of go with you out in a field to start setting traps nearby. And the main trap that he's kind of stating is of best use, especially against a larger force, would be digging trenches and ditches and then using your druidic knowledge to kind of conceal them and make them look like they're not there.
Yeah. Make them look natural, like part of everything else. Yeah, she'd help with that.
He also states that the main entry point for opposition will obviously try and be through the front wall, through the gate, but he is assured that with the moat, it'll be very hard for them to move larger forces across, but it won't be hard for them to leap across using their blusa. So he proposes, and this would be a proposition he makes to Moirax, since they would be kind of able to do it. It's not outside, but place a line of spears on the exterior ramparts, so that if they try to jump, they'll have to clear those as well, but men can still fire arrows through them or utilize spells through them. But if the blues come down on them, they'll lance themselves and be useless.
Yeah.
If we can spare the weapons, then absolutely.
He states that it wouldn't need to be weapons proper. I would suggest seeing if you can't have a couple of trees leveled and just splintered into pikes. They don't need to be metal shot in.
Then absolutely.
And then Roman and the gnome entourage, I assume there'd be a couple that go with you.
Yeah.
Head out and start kind of performing trap functioning. Morax, actually, Evangeline says she'll take responsibility for the pikes, and kind of from that point takes a small detachment of guards, and then heads to kind of get laborers from the newly formed laborers guild to assist in felling trees and finding long branches. Gives her something to do. Anything that is happening with Mikhail in the process, and anything happening with who else did I miss? Well, Casey and Dahabe.
I can go now if you guys want.
Yeah.
I got an idea of what I would be doing. Mikhail would be I think since he's in, like one of the most important businesses in town, the most important, if you want to say that. But anyways, what he's been doing is he's been thinking, like, if a war is going to come to the town, they need to be prepared. So like all businesses and stuff should have a plan of what they're going to do if they, grab their families, get them to the walls, those type of things. What do we do with our crops? Do we take them? Do we leave them? So kind of somebody that's going to talk a strategy with them about that. And so he would be organizing that, like kind of like what the matron of the town, what she wants to happen, versus like what we're telling them for everybody to do. So
interestingly enough, that was the second avenue for discourse that I had, barring a Zach arrival tonight. So holiday season, and it gets messy. I get it, it's fine. But what I was going to suggest is that there be some discussion as to what the plan of attack is for the people who are outside of the town and for the people who are already inside of the town. Now, we had some people suggesting, we could just force them up to the monastery. We know that's not an option. That's not going to suffice. There's not enough room up there. Its climate is not sufficient. There's not enough reserves, food-wise. There's enough food reserves here inside of the walls due to a number of magical items that provide sustenance for people. It wouldn't be the greatest existence, but it would be living. But yeah, that's a very good avenue of thought. Is there anyone in particular, be it the people outside of the town, or more so people inside of the town that you're wanting to kind of treat with regarding the plans here?
Yeah, I think what I want to do is just kind of come up with an idea of what I thought everybody should do, and then kind of run it by Dabe and the matron, to see if that they approve of it, kind of.
Well, then, yeah,
that sort of thing.
Let's work through that together then.
Yeah.
Dabe and Mikhail, go.
I would say Dabe. I've been trying to come up with emergency plans for people who live inside and outside the walls of the town to follow. And I just wanted to, run that by you and the matron to get your approval, so that, it kind of meshes with everything that you're kind of wanting for the town.
I think right now the matron is out somewhere putting spikes in the ground or something like that. But I do think if we can get the folk from the region into the walls, maybe they can hide out underground. We can try to find a nice little tunnel for them to escape. If things really become untenable, I think meanwhile that might be the safest place for them. What do you think?
That is a great idea. I think it would be helpful if that is what we decide to do, that maybe we get the sheriff involved to kind of help him understand what's going to be needed as far as protecting people going to and from the caves and all that security aspect of it.
I worry that our resources for securing the town are quite stretched as it is. But if they can spare any personnel to guard the innocents, I'm sure that would be beneficial.
Yes, I'll work that out with the sheriff then, just to kind of get an idea of like what he would want guarding maybe the entrances or to the caves versus that sort of thing, because I know our resources in that department are going to be stretched if we're ever attacked. But
we should also determine a safe exit and come up with a way to hide it.
Right, exactly. So I will work with the sheriff on that, because I'm sure if he knows the importance of this plan, he'll look at it and make sure that it's something that he can realistically do, given the resources, like I said. But if everybody knows about what we're doing, the operations, and they've already bought into it, then I think we're going to be in good shape.
And a main thing to note too is that the call for the knights errant would obviously trigger some sort of response in the farmers and lumberers and such outside of the town. So that call has been made. It was very much kind of brightly broadcast. It's something that they're kind of on the lookout for as well. And so the communities outside of the town are probably mustering themselves to move back into the town because they don't know what to do, or they're kind of cloistering in their own kind of defenses out there, because you're going to have some people who are not going to abandon their houses. It's just pretty much the nature of the beast at some point.
Right, old Jethro.
Yeah, old Jethro is not gonna. I mean, he's gonna sit on his porch and he's gonna look them Dennis Hopkins right in the face, and he's gonna say, "Hey, we don't
Get
serve
off my
your
lawn."
that's probably we don't serve your kind here." I was like, "What is this, Star Wars?"
Nah,
Go on, get.
more of a I was born here on this here porch and I'm gonna die here on this here porch.
Now you right.
That does sound about right. Yeah.
That porch is really dirty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's probably something you'll see throughout the day. There might be some people who kind of wander into town to try and find out what's going on. But yeah, that said, good point of. Go ahead.
So I leveled up at some point.
Okay.
And I picked up sending.
Cool.
Can I send a message to Airmore Ag to like pull up some?
So the only prerequisite for
PowerPoint presentations.
The only prerequisite for the spell sending is that you know somebody, and then you direct the message to that individual. So who would you like to be the recipient of your message?
Let me look at my notes for 2 seconds.
Take your time. I want to take that time to invest some character for Summer real quick. I did state that Roman was kind of focusing on traps that he thought were going to be, this is what is good, but that's obviously just him military-minded, do what works, don't try and go outside of the craziness. But if you have any plans for traps that you think would be fun, that you want to try and sell him on, I mean, absolutely, this would be the time for that.
Oh, you're right.
If you got any plans, but if you like the pit trap covered by like the stealth vegetation, I mean,
I do, but I think I had another thing, or maybe a version of that. I'll look it up and send it in chat.
I think Estrid. She's kind of like our liaison, or no? Are you making a face?
Oh no, I'm dealing with other stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, don't pay attention.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Sorry, continue. You were saying?
Estrid?
Estrid. Estrid is who you're sending it to. Got it. Thank you. Checking my notes because I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry, there was a delivery that I got a notice for on my phone, and I thought it said it was delivered, so I messaged my wife to see if it was there, and then I checked it again, and it said it shipped. Then it didn't deliver. Then, even though it's never mind. Never mind.
You got too
riveting stuff.
excited.
Honey UMS.
Well,
it's okay.
It's not that. It's just that. Yeah, I mean, we live in an apartment complex right on the street, and it's a big box of cat litter, and people might think it's like electronics or something. I don't know. It's my brain.
That happens. No, that happens to my my boss with her cat food.
Yeah, I just
That actually happened to me once.
Yeah, we lost our cat litter before, and I just don't want to lose my cat litter. Also, inside of the package is a new nail clipper, and I need it. I need it bad. Toenails are. Anywho, to the point.
Oh,
Back
this
on
is getting
track.
good. This is
No, not beat again.
Oh no.
Kevin's like, oh yeah. Oh my goodness. So anyways, back on track. Okay. So the message you send to Estrid's 25 words long. You can feel free to jot that down in the side chat, and we'll get to that.
We need to gather information about Dennis Savins. About the Dennis Savins. Please confirm. I don't know. Please send it over.
Please facts. That's funny. Take your time in figuring out what you want to send message wise.
All right. Okay.
Where'd my Discord go?
To Discord Holla.
Apparently.
Discord Holla. That I gotta copyright that. Unless it's already a thing.
Make sure you get the URL.
I think it's a thing.
Sponsored by Squarespace.
You think I get a Squarespace sponsor with Discord Holla? Anywho. So yeah, the traps ideas also take your time thinking about those as well. But focusing.
I'm sending you one.
Cool. Focusing on the town for a bit during like midday. You would note that there are Lovett. That's a good one. That's fun. You would note that there are individuals who are coming to the town gates from outside. One of them is an individual from far afield, like definitely someone you haven't seen very often in town. In fact, probably for some of you, the last time you saw this individual, he was a young lad in his teens. He's probably late teens now, but he appears to be wearing an old suit of armor, kind of like a bowl cut, brown hair, and a sword at his hip. And he has, a travel sack over his shoulder, and he seems to have kind of mustered up with a group of other individuals.
Mustard.
And a bowl of mustard. So anyway, this individual is leading and kind of like protecting this group of older lumberjacks who, look like they're competent enough with their axes and everything, but it definitely looks like he's kind of taken the lead of the group. And they approach the gate. And I assume we're let in, Morex? By the group?
Yeah, at this point, unless somebody seems particularly threatening,
Yeah.
we would like vet them. It's like, hey, what are you doing? Who are you? What are you doing in town? Just
Right.
checkpoint stuff, but letting them in.
Okay. A couple of the guards seem confused, like whether or not they're supposed to check and see if they're shapeshifters or not. But the soldier who's on cue with them kind of like, just says, no, it's no longer an issue. I don't think it's fine. We let a bunch of We let a bunch of the thieves into the town not too long ago. It's fine. Earlier in the day, they explained to you a couple of the Rising Suns have arrived. And you assume that the Rising Suns are mustering a bit at the Wolf at the Gate. Probably not a huge group of them at current. But yeah, the young lad asks to speak with whoever's in charge of the effort. He has something to report.
All right. Are you asking about never mind. Yeah. I can't remember exactly what I was going to say, but yeah, hang on a minute. Like, go to somebody else. I can get myself together.
What? Zach, your smile is just a treasure. So who would the guards take him to if he asked to take him to the leader of the effort?
I guess probably me.
Okay. So this young lad kind of meets up with you. The suit of armor he's wearing appears to be kind of old Jernaran, very much stylistically of a bygone age when warrior knights were kind of stationed with mages in like the higher cities. He definitely doesn't look like he's very anachronistic in that way. Like it's a kind of an old mentality of what you expect a knight to look like, and this boy is wearing it. Obviously, someone who wasn't even around back then. Probably his father wasn't either. But he says to you, I come from the Southlands. A couple of these lumberers I met along the way back here. Our farm sat on the borderland of the barony, barony's heart. We occasionally traveled up this way for trade, but we weren't a part of your town by any rights. My father was killed in the night by Denisovin raiders. I was able to hold off the attackers in my basement, and at first light, I was able to escape as they had lost interest. And not long after, I met with these fine folk here.
So you're looking for some shelter and potentially a way to fight back?
I'm mostly interested in letting you know what it was that I saw in the fight and what you might expect.
Well, I'm all ears.
There were warrior women who, when they fought with my father, who was trained by his father and his father before him in the Aetan swords technique. The warrior women fought with him for a time, and when they realized that he was a bit more that they could handle even with their numbers, they buried daggers into their own throats and became wild with a frenzy that my father couldn't match. Fortunately for me, once I got into the basement, it was just a waiting game for me, and they slowly passed away. But during the time that they were still alive, their ferocity was unmatched.
So you're telling me that these warrior women, was it just warrior woman? Was it
There
like
were-
some special squad?
There were 4 of them, yes, and then there were about 10 others, but they were just soldiery, I guess. They didn't really. I bested 5 of them with my sword in the basement, and I'm not terribly skilled at the sword. Well, I'm pretty good.
If you bested 5 soldiers, I'm sure you at least got a decent sword arm on you.
Well, I had decided to set up in a way that when they came down the stairs, they would have to swing at me at a detriment. They would have to hit post. I used that as a defense, and then I was able to lash inwards. I took a very advantageous position. My dad taught me that would probably be best, and he was right.
But anyway, about these warrior women, they slit their own throats while they were.
No, they buried their daggers into their throats, like stabbed themselves in the necks, and then with the daggers in their necks, they fought breathlessly.
So they did that, fought wildly,
Yes,
beat your dad down,
they couldn't do
killed
it
your dad.
They couldn't do it before that they did that, but after they did, it very much changed. Everything changed. It was a normal fight. It was almost like a sparring match before that, and then insanity. Blood was everywhere, and my dad's strength faltered. He told me to run when the first blow bit him, and I saw what he didn't. I saw the others, and I couldn't escape the house like he had hoped. Do you believe that?
I believe you. They
No, I was gonna say, do you believe that he can see that I'm all right? I guess that's what I worry about the most. Is I hope he doesn't think that he failed me in his end.
Now listen, son. I I'm not a man of the cloth myself. I've always been one of the sword. But I think that your father, being that he went down trying to fight to protect you, protect others that he loved, I'm certain that he's somewhere out there watching you, and he's proud of what you're doing right now.
I just wanted a pep talk in that voice. And I got it. And it was beautiful, and I loved it. He seems very kind of worn out, but you kind of muster these individuals and kind of move them along their way to where you think they need to go in the town.
Send him somewhere to go get a little something to eat.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not like a massive influx. It's not like a whole bunch of these refugees from outside like coming into the town. They're not really refugees. They're just people of the town mustering for defense. This boy was a refugee though. He wasn't really part of the town. But my point is they start coming in, but it's not like an influx. It's not like an immediate like kind of downpouring of individuals. It's like every so often you got a handful of people, and then like a long stretch without. Maybe a couple of groups kind of pop in after that. It seems like everyone's kind of coming in on their own time. For the most part, it doesn't seem like anyone is being stressed to rush into the place. They're just kind of asking at the guard gate, "Do we see the knight errant sign? Where are we expected to come back in?" Some of them are confused, don't look like they have all their stuff. Some of them have all their stuff and are like, "I'm overly cautious. I just want to make sure it's not a big trouble for me. I'd rather be alive than out there with no defense," kind of situation. But yeah, you start seeing people coming in from outside of town.
Oh, right. The ones who are coming in, obviously save for like really like children, elderly, and like sick people. I would suggest that like we're not yet forcing them to, but we present like, hey, we all know what's coming. We could use some help with the guard.
Some of the more able-bodied individuals state that they're willing to help where they can, and some of these people are kind of very quickly directed to the matriarch's efforts in kind of felling trees, preparing the spikes. Some others are kind of sent out to muster with the trapping group, as some of the traps that are kind of being put on display require a bit more labor as they kind of get through the day. Like digging holes can be easy for a druid, but you can dig more holes with more people. And I would say too that some of them would say, "Yeah, sure. If you've got an extra spear, an extra shield, and an extra coat of mail, I'm more than happy to sign up, temporarily, of course."
We can use all the help we can get.
All right. Shijo, you give me that 25 words yet?
Muted.
Muted, but I still got it.
I also had that problem that the little button came up saying
What's that?
level up or meet. I think Zizo probably had the same thing.
Yeah,
I
I'm
did.
sorry.
Yeah.
You had
I had the
I,
same thing.
I was like, oh, look, I can level up. And the little button shows up. Apparently, it's showing up for others.
yeah.
And newsflash, I'm not supposed to be leveling up, so I don't have sending. Can we say I got a scroll out of the tower somewhere?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Or Miss Millie maybe could have scribed us a scroll or two.
She would annoyedly point you to the cabinet where she keeps them. She has 3.
Okay.
So you're using one of the 3.
I'm using 2.
Using 2 of the 3, so you have 1 left.
Okay.
So who are you sending to?
To Estrid Shallows. And the text reads, "Our messenger to you should have arrived by now. The Dennis Satvans came to threaten us, and we reacted foolishly. The retaliation was painful. I can't find much on the Dennis Satvans. Can you share any information in your library that will help us to prepare to defend Gatemead?"
Too long for a reply. I will be there by evening.
All right.
And then your second message was to?
That was both of them.
Oh, you used
both to the same person.
Oh, got it.
2 castings to the same person, just to get the information across to Irmorag.
Perfection. Okay. You would. It would probably be closer to evening time, so I just want to make sure everybody, if there's anything else you want to do throughout the day, it sounds like there's pretty solid prep that's going on. I'm liking the idea of the main road thoroughfares having the whip trap. I like the idea of the pit traps being kind of closer to other areas. Perhaps some noose traps or snare traps rather that would be out in the tree areas, akin to your Return of the Jedi, if you will, like the large net kind of collecting the groups. I think it's pretty solid.
I think it's a pretty good day.
Grouping of stuff, yeah. And then from Casey, was there anything that you were wanting to do during the day, mustering wise? It's just mainly the stone masons who are kind of keeping an eye on the wall and making sure there are no problems therein. Are you wanting them to open up one of the avenues down into the Underkeep, like specifically through what's his name's house? Maybe that would be a good avenue for entering that space.
I'm open to that, but I don't know if Casey would do that without the matriarch or Morax's or someone's approval. That's not an initiative that the mayor would take upon themselves.
I would say that based
on if the mason or I guess I would check in with.
I would say that at this stage of it, I would say that since Magpie's not here, Evangeline would be very much for any kind of ideas that the group as a whole would have towards protecting the town. So if you are like of the suggestion, well, we should have some means of kind of getting to the Underkeep for refugees.
Yeah, and especially if we can afford a few guards to keep that exit clear, then
Yeah.
like it'll give us
Well-
a way to move people out.
I would say like
If-
having them enter into the town, enter into Bjorkan's estate, descend into the basement, and enter the Underkeep that way. That way,
Yeah.
it's all internal instead of.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. And
I was thinking of there's only 2 entrances into the cavern in this town that we know of?
all of the cavern entrances have been closed. The day before and the day, like the morning of, kind of being the final touches, Casey had the Stone Cutters Guild seal them all up.
Okay, so we can't get from the town into there
Correct.
or underneath it?
Nobody can at current.
Okay.
You can clear it. I mean, it would take the better part of a day to do so, but it can be done.
But I think it's a good idea to clear out the entrance
Just that
from
one entrance in the
from the
the
beer
house.
the beer can house.
You can. Yeah, well, that one was never closed. All the internal entrances were never closed. It was
But
just the
if-
ones that left
yeah.
the town.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
okay.
Then there is a way in and out.
Yeah.
There's no way out other than inside of the walls. So if we wanted to open up one tunnel,
Big Dot. I think CJ was mainly referring to the in and out of the Underkeep.
okay.
Not so
Yeah.
much out of the town that
So
way.
we do have access to the tunnels, but they will just be trapped in the tunnels if the town breaks.
Do you want to do any surveying of the space? Like, again, it probably hasn't changed much since you last kind of dealt with it, but I
Right.
mean, again, if you want to kind of go over it again, you can as well.
Is it possible to at 1 or 2, and I don't know if we have the resources in town for this, at 1 or 2 of the exits that we have like sealed up with stone?
Yeah,
rig
well,
up some
would- no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
like we could rig up like something that could explosives that could blast away the stone. That way, if we need to make an escape that way, we could, like, blow out that one. Like from the other side, it's a wall. From our side, it's a wall with
It'd be a great way to blow up a bunch
Explosive.
of townspeople too. Just,
that too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you needed to.
As
I mean,
a treat.
I know Brent's on board.
I know. I'm thinking Brent.
Yeah,
The
you're
Brent
like,
way.
How can we kill a bunch of characters that are probably worth 0 experience apiece? Bombs. But anyway,
we collapse the whole town.
there are 2 passes that leave the Underkeep that exit out into the land to the south and the land to the north, directly south and north of Gateneath. And if you remember, the west side of Gateneath is barred by the moat. But if you were to exit north or south, you would be on the opposite side of the moat. And I specifically stated that the one that goes to the north kind of exits out a ways away, like a solid mile away from the town. So you
Yeah,
can
the
just-
one that's kind of by the river, right?
Yeah, it's kind of north and it heads out. It doesn't ever
By the
cross-
bridge?
Yeah, it doesn't ever cross the river. It's the
Right,
one
right.
that's on the north side. It just kind of stays north of Gateneath, stays on the eastern side of the river, and just heads that
Wait,
way.
is that the one where the bandits came out and were like trying to get us?
No.
Okay.
No, bandits never came out of a tunnel to get you. The bandits that you dealt with afield is when you rode out to go and find what's his name, and he was being attacked by bandits in the forest, and the identity of those bandits was never...
When we were going north towards Irmorag, we were at a bridge
Irmorag's not north; it's east.
east.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
There is a secret passageway that goes into that point, and yes, it does connect to that same tunnel. That is true.
I think I like that one
Okay.
because it gets us towards the the what you call it,
The monastery.
the monastery. There's a river there that we can, I don't know, jump in and
It's
drown in.
a
If we
decent.
need to like save, if we need to save like like one last baby, we can put him in like a little reed basket and put him down the river,
Love
like
it.
Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would be a member of Evangeline's family, so it'd be like a little dog baby.
Oh,
Oh no! Put him in
And
between
then
like
he would
two
they
slices
would-
of bread.
I think they
Like
call
a little
those
picnic?
puppies.
A little
Oh,
doggy picnic.
Is a baby doggy called a puppy?
I think so.
That's a good name for them. I like it. Anyway. Yeah, but Casey, do you want to do any exploration of the Underkeep at all?
It's been sealed up. I
Well,
can't.
you can go into the Bjorkan area.
Yeah, I guess.
There was the place that they were kind of searching themselves that you didn't really explore too much on your own. Like, nobody's really looked into what the big dragon symbol and all of the stuff that's kind of there. Like, it really was just something you all
Kind of left.
said, fuck that.
Yep.
Do you want to investigate it any further?
I think Casey would explore the tunnels, but probably not look into any of like the lore of like any of the like images or anything. Just like go walking.
Well, what you would note is it does look like during the process of closing off the tunnels, this central point in the middle of the place has been completely cleared of all of the tools and such that were present with the bandits who were doing their bandit archaeology.
Right.
But it's also been cleared cleared of a lot of the debris and stuff that was kind of settled on top of the diorama of Soland. It looks like the stonecutters actually cleared the floor space and have kind of created a more like suitable like place to just stand around, like more akin to what it looked like in ancient times. So that hasn't really been explored, and it doesn't look like it's been tampered with too much. But if you wanted to look into,
It's not Casey.
okay.
I think Casey would probably, upon seeing it be cleared, though, use the sending stone to send a message to Dahabe.
Oh, okay.
Dahabe, have you been to the underground recently?
Not recently. Has been kind of crazy up here in the tower. Why? What's going on down there?
Yeah. They chuckle a little. I think you're gonna want to come down here and take a look. The Masons did a good job clearing the place, and there's a lot that needs to be lured.
I see. All right, I'll be right down.
If
Thank you.
If you take the time to think about like why they did it, probably not a Casey thing either. But if you, Dahabe, upon arriving there, take the time to think about why they did it, you'll note that the entryway into Bjorkan's estate, all of the furniture and stuff that was in the kitchen / larder, all that, it's been moved. You don't know where it is. All the crap that was stuck at the bottom of the stairs, it has
Mhm.
also been moved. Where it is, you're not sure. But it's been kind of cleared out, and you notice that there's like kind of working path, and you can see that there's a lot of dust and dirt on the ground with booted footprints that have kind of worked in and out of the space. And you would kind of acknowledge, like, with history being trained, that the stone that's down there is probably like unquarryable. So even just the broken materia that was on the ground could be used for like dwarven liquid stone, which is kind of an equivalent of cement, could be used for other things that are of high value to a. So basically, they were gifted this job, and they were like, "Ooh!" and then just took all of the debris because that was a solid payment for them.
Okay.
But upon making it down there, Casey there as well, you would see the full diorama of the dragon god Soland. If you'd like, you can make not an Arcana check because it's not hard to decipher what it is. You can make an investigation check, and if Casey is trained in investigation, You can make that check with advantage.
Not trained. -1. Dumb AF.
Because
they
I would say
are.
that the thing that you would probably be thinking, and just to kind of cut it to the point, is they were looking for something down here.
So roll or don't roll?
Yeah, roll. I mean, you
Okay.
roll
You
normal.
just don't have advantage, because... Yeah.
So you're not sure what they were looking for.
That's a 9.
Yeah, I can see it. You're not sure what they were looking for. You're definitely certain that you would probably, at this point, try and be thinking, like, how can I try and puzzle out what they were thinking? And the best way to kind of get into a bandit's mentality would be to...
Get drunk.
Yes.
That is like very high on Dahabe's priority list these days.
Speaking of very high,
Speaking very high, I wish
Uh,
I was high too. I want to be smiling too.
I don't think it's legal in your state.
No.
Aww.
Serious?
Wow, way to be like a total
You
downer.
need to go. You need to go
John.
to Arizona. That's where you need
Is
to
it
go.
Arizona.
legal in Arizona? I didn't know that.
Yep,
Very cool.
That's where I want to get married.
Awesome. Also very cool.
that is very good. Cool.
Okay, so
Who do you
what?
Who are you reaching
I
out
don't-
to?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
So I gave you phones because I want the most important thing that you do, like when you're like, I'm stumped, is to phone a friend. And it's
That's
like,
what I did.
Oh, oh,
did great.
phoning friends.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, why don't we call? Do we know any bandits? Oh wait, yeah, we actually know 2, basically. Or wait, 1.
One
Just one.
confirmed.
1 confirmed. So let's call the police. I mean the bandit. I mean the police.
Same thing.
Hello, Morak.
He's speaking.
Hey, remember when you're like totally outed as a bandit?
man, Dave has gotten saucy.
This is like
Okay,
you're like
anyway.
seeing somebody on the phone. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" Yeah.
Look, we are fighting it's kind of weird. The bandits took all of the dust. Probably will use it
Not the bandits.
to make cement.
The
Who?
stone
The workers.
cutters. Yeah.
Oh, the stonecutters. So we're trying to figure out what the heck they were digging around. I know you're very busy preparing the town for war and all that, but there could be something helpful or useful down here. We just can't really figure out what they were looking for. Do you want to come down really quick and check it out? Do you have a moment?
Yeah, I've got a moment.
Is there
Thanks,
anybody?
Morax. Click.
Is there anybody else we should? This is-
Not until Chris fails a roll, then we'll call someone else.
but-
I get down there. I'll phone a friend. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna call a friend.
Yeah.
Because I'm still waiting for Estrid, right?
Estrid,
We're not talking about Estrid.
Estrid replied. Estrid said she will be there this
She's
evening.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for Estrid. Who else is a bandit?
Estrid's not a bandit.
No, I know, but I'm trying to think like who else do I know that's a bandit? What about the literal bandits that are in the jail?
She
Yeah.
says in the presence of Casey.
We could try the magnate.
What?
He has a lot of people in his employ, and people tend to open up around those who offer drinks. So he's learned quite a lot, and I think he has access to archaic knowledge that I often am not aware of myself, just due to the random conversations that he's had. He can often be a interesting resource.
The math's a little interesting there. Okay, we might as well call Summer down to 2 and get the whole council involved in that case.
Doesn't hurt.
So we call Summer and Mikhail.
I believe at this point she's probably got like arms crossed, like hand on her chin with this trap being made. The thing is devious. But there's like people like pushing it into place, and she's just micromanaging.
Yeah.
Basically.
Take that call. Take that call.
Hello.
Oh, hey, we're trying to figure out what was that?
Tie it there. Tie it there.
Summer, what's happening over there?
I didn't expect it to go that route.
Oh, okay. Well,
Grunting men in the
You
background.
absolutely planned that, Jonathan.
Not me.
We're just trapping still. What are you doing?
rapping.
Can you help too? Are you gonna
Hmm.
come help?
Oh no. We are down here in the underground area trying to figure out what's going on, what these bandits were looking for. It's been cleared up since the stonecutters left. Maybe we can figure something out. I'm hitting a wall. There might be something useful. Do you want to come down and check it out?
Well, I guess I can. We are pretty busy out here though. Do you guys mind, like yelling who are guys? Do you guys mind if I go do some council stuff real quick?
At this point, they're kind of like just tying it off. This is like the
Urgh,
probably the
urgh.
fourth or fifth whip trap that you put on the path leading up to it. The gentleman who is kind of in the lead of your current detachment here says, is this the last one? Do you want us to put another one in further down? Same distance, or are we good? I thought that
Looks at the sky to see where the sun is, because it's
it's probably mid after. It's probably 2.
mid after. Maybe we're good for now. I think maybe you guys deserve a break.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Then I guess we don't need to.
Great. I'll see you later. Okay. And then heads.
Okay. So after about 20 or so minutes, I'd say about 20 or 30 minutes, probably the time it takes for Summer to arrive back in, to town, and then
Sorry, while they were having that conversation, I imagine Casey was calling Mikael,
Okay, go ahead.
doing the same thing. Mikael, are you busy?
No, I'm free for a little bit. What do you got?
Fantastic. I think your eyes might be valuable down here in the Underdark, under the city, through the Bjorken estate.
Oh yes. What could I help you with?
Nope, just come.
Ah, all right. I will be right there.
Cool.
Cool.
I'd get
So-
my stuff and go.
You all arrive back on the scene, and as I mentioned, it's kind of cleared of all the debris. The patterning on the ground is kind of put in perfect display, and in looking at it, you can see everything in all its glory. That said, it seems like the bandits were digging for something, but for what, you cannot be certain. Unless you search. So if you're trained in investigation, you can attempt an investigation roll. And if you have someone who's also trained in investigation, they can aid. If you've already made an investigation roll, you are barred from helping.
Can I bardic?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have investigation. Does anybody else have it? I think Morax
do
does.
not, but I
Morax
do
doesn't.
have
I'm gonna give you bardic, Kevin. You have a
Bardic.
D6.
All right. I feel so
I have
inspired.
You have what?
Guidance.
Guidance is fine.
Guidance and bardic inspiration. Gosh, guys, I am going to be flying on this one. All right. So what's going on?
Roll high.
Roll.
Am I rolling
shit.
for investigation? All right, I will do it. I was
Morax,
letting
do you
the
have
coaching go.
investigation trained or no?
I don't.
Some cop you are.
Oh.
No, that sounds pretty standard.
My
Yeah.
first roll is
Oh,
a
no.
little low, but now I got to roll.
I
What's your
didn't see
bardic?
anything.
A
D8
D6.
or a D6. All right. D6.
Goddamn. God.
Now what's next? What's
Okay.
the other one?
D4.
What's guidance do? D4. Okay, I can't remember. I gotta have these. Feed me my lines. Come on.
That'll do
And a
it.
4. Check that out, guys.
Um,
Clutch rolls on those bonus points there.
So, with everything being cleared as it is, you would note that the center of the structure, the dead center of the structure, which for some reason wasn't cleared immediately by the bandits, appears to have a strangeness to the stone. And you recognize this strangeness in the stone because it's very similar to secret trap mechanisms utilized by thieves' guilds in Parnak, and also the city of Dayet, which is known as the City of Bandits. It is a very old style of mechanism that only someone who is acutely aware of banditry would be able to notice. Oddly placed here in the center of this very religious dragon god shrine, but there it is. And you have the option to open it or not.
Is there really an option? Right. That's
Here's
like,
another
Look, we
bardic
find
coming
this
your
thing
way.
that he describes. Do you want
Yeah.
to look at it? Now, let's just leave this here.
I think just for RP's sake, let's just be like, no, let's
We've
put,
got so much to deal
let's
with
put
right
a
now.
so
lid
much
on it.
going on
Yeah,
right
we don't need a side quest right now. No, but actually, I probably
no Dungeons
would.
in my Dungeons and Dragons.
I guess since everybody's here, I would be like, and I would let everybody know, like, this is what I'm thinking. It seems real important. Should we open it
Who-
or put it to side for later? It could be something very important that will help us.
Who knows what kind of arcane resource is hidden within these secrets? I say you
Exactly.
access
Or maybe
it.
a dragon god.
Oh yeah.
Also,
Wouldn't that be
So if
fun?
it's not that. All right. So what do I need to do to
Well,
do that? Is that an actual
you're-
You have
roll,
to
or-
worry about the war then.
That's
Yeah.
true. Or
Yeah.
maybe
Offer
we can
something.
like sacrifice some innocence to the dragon god. Bam.
It-
War is good.
what?
War is done.
Innocence?
Oh, we awaken the sleeping dragon to defend the town.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, yeah, all sorts of.
You get
possible
another bardic.
universes.
In case you have
Sweet.
to do anything weird.
I'm gonna set this thing off, man.
You do not have to do anything weird, other than
Oh
decide
man.
whether
Well,
or
tell us
not,
what it is, and we'll make it weird.
whether or
Yeah.
not you are opening this strange
Yeah.
device on the floor or leaving it be.
I don't know. I'm thinking. I think everybody here is in agreement. We have to open this thing up, right?
You
Tell me
always
if
have
I'm
to
wrong.
open it.
Yeah, we've got to open this.
Okay.
Gotta make sure if it's trapped first.
Okay. Well, go ahead and make another investigation roll to see if it's true.
All right, let's do this. I probably don't need anything for this. Let's just assume that. And I rolled an 11.
You do have
You
a
have
bardic
another-
dice.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have Bardic, and that's a
And
D6.
I would assume
D6.
guidance as well.
D6.
Absolutely
All right.
fine.
15.
15.
And do you want to use the guidance?
D4.
Sure.
Got it. Oh, rolled only
Oh.
rolled a 1 this time, but hey, it's
So it doesn't appear to be
Make a
trapped. It does appear that the mechanism normally is kind of a means of kind of opening a door, So like you pull it and like you can kind of open the door that is kind of set into. As you're kind of looking around with that investigation trap looking for traps, you don't see a door. Like it would be like a trap door that you kind of pull the mechanism and then it kind of like turns and lifts it up, like almost like you were uncorking a bottle of wine. But
like the metaphor.
if this floor here is the cork, you're not seeing the rim of it. But you are standing on a very massive circle.
I think I get what I'm getting.
Stepping on.
Look at this. I think he's saying we could open it and it could be like the entire floor of where we are, or we don't know how big it goes. That's a potential problem. What do you guys think?
I think I'll be fast enough to move.
What's the worst that could happen?
I'll stand over
oh,
here.
We fall
Yeah,
to our
I think
death.
we better stand
Honestly,
outside of the circle.
sounds pretty good to me.
Sounds good. Oh my gosh.
Dahabe will
Dark.
stand
You're really
as
making me wonder what's
far
going to
out
happen.
from the circle as possible.
1 second here. My computer is being difficult.
Why do you need your computer, John?
Because
We're
I'm
just
gonna-
opening a little door.
Yeah.
Why isn't it the end of the
Hold
mind anymore, John? Why do you
going
need your
on?
computer, John?
What's going on,
Yeah.
John?
I see that little motherfucking smirk. Don't play with me.
What's happening, John?
What are you doing over there, John?
We technically don't need it. It's fine.
Technically. You don't technically need a map for combat.
All
Okay.
that time I spent building it out, putting it in the
Who
game.
said anything about combat? I didn't say anything about combat.
It's just
But
destruction.
since you
It
did,
explodes.
But since you did roll initiative,
Ah.
Ah!
So, as you see, like the floor has been completely cleared. Use your imagination. Each of the dragon heads is different colored. I know they're all showing up as green here, but that's fine. That being said, the center point is where you found the mechanism. The center point is where you will open the mechanism. In doing so, I would like for you to kind of everybody place yourself where you would be when this is happening.
So we would be, at first, we would have been gathered around the center
Yeah, well, again,
while, Mikhail was opening the thing.
he would have explained it how he would have explained it.
Gotcha.
And please, if
Okay.
you aren't at full hit points, please make sure you're at full hit points. You had a long rest.
God damn it.
oh, forgot about that.
Everybody's good to go on that. But I mean, not like you're gonna need it.
God.
Right.
there's no reason.
It's not like you're gonna need a hit point.
Yeah.
So that's where everybody is, right?
Hmm.
I need Dahabe and Summer to make dexterity saving throws. I need Mikhail and I need Morax to make dexterity saving throws.
Fucking sucks.
Woo-hoo.
Dirty 20.
Okay.
20.
Oh crap! A 12 and a 23. Do I have advantage on this for some reason?
11. My legs are too short.
Ah.
Okay. So it looks like Dahabe and Summer are fine. And then it looks like
You mean
Chris and
Dahabe
Dahabe.
and Morax?
no, I said what I meant what I said.
Ooh.
Oh, cool, cool,
Ah.
cool.
And then Morax would be fine as well. It doesn't look like that is going to pass over to Kevin. What happens is the ground beneath you starts to shake. Your immediate response is to rush for the exit. Dahabe and Summer are right near it, so they very quickly make it to it with very little effort. But what they recognize is that the floor starts to slope down in towards the center as they're moving. So Summer's kind of rushing up the lip of the floor as that's happening. Kevin, as Mikhail kind of looks at the situation, he spends too long examining and realizing the artifice. It seems that the floor is locked on a number of different wedges, 6 total, to be accurate, that seem to be dropped down in their center, pivoting on axes on the pillars that are around the center point. Morax isn't really caring, he doesn't give a fuck, and he's running, diving up the ramp and sliding behind Summer, possibly even pushing her off of the position. Mikhail,
Oh,
seeing
rude.
this, rushes towards the end of it and jumps, catching the ledge just barely, and then falling. I need you to make another dexterity saving throw, Mikhail.
Dex saving throw. Oh, the dice are hating me tonight. They're so low.
All right. He falls into darkness, and I'm going to need just a second here. Roll.
That's it. Game over, man. Game over.
Bear with me. To put it to an understanding, unfortunately, this is currently what I have for viewing purposes. That's the gravity of what happened.
I should be outside though.
Yep. It kind of all descends downwards, and this center point is kind of like moving down in high wedges and opening downwards and out. So the center point is still there for just reference as to where it was, because the hole that I had available to me is just kind of a reference divot. But Mikhail, you fall towards the edge of it. You manage to just almost barely save yourself, but not succeed in the end. You weren't able to kind of catch a footing, catch a grapple. You fall into darkness. Those of you who have dark vision kind of look over the lip as the mechanism continues, realize that he just is gone.
I yell, I get no respect as I'm falling.
In that immediate aftermath, there is a point where you hear a kind of thud, 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 but then it kind of goes quiet. And Mikhail, you take 25 points of bludgeoning damage.
There was
And
this thing was
to make sure you understand, that is, if I remember correctly, you're 6th level, right?
I am 4th level. I haven't leveled up since I
Oh.
started,
Wow.
but I think we might have gotten a level when I was gone. So I don't know how that works.
Okay. Well, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, though, I already have 27 hit points to
Oh,
start with at
okay.
level 4, so I'm all right to
Well,
if
I
I
was
get
just-
hit with
I
25.
wasn't sure if you had evasion or not. I can't remember what.
Oh
level that-
shit! I don't think
that's
I
level
have
5.
it yet. Yeah, it'll be the
level
next
5
level.
is evasion. Okay.
I think so.
So-
So yeah.
Then that's fine. 25 points is the damage you took. You slam into the ground. And do you have dark vision at all?
I don't think so because I am half human. No, I'm human. No dark vision.
Okay.
Sucks. But that's it.
When you hit the ground, you hear like your breath kind of escape you. The wind is kind of knocked out of you, and you kind of are grasping to kind of collect yourself. Even though it's completely pitch black, you can tell that your vision is shifted. Like it feels like you're seeing double, but it's twice as much darkness. You know,
I mean, I got
you are-
double vision.
Yeah, but you can't see anything, so it's like pitch black double vision. But you feel like your entire body is kind of locked, seized, like as you're kind of gasping, like trying to gasp for air. You realize you're not breathing. Like there's that just like after being punched in the gut kind of like breathlessness. And then there's a moment where it feels like you breathe, but you don't breathe. It's like the air around you or something near you just breathed in very heavily. And then you catch your breath.
Weird. That's messed up. I'm okay down here. Gotta yell that up. See if anybody responds from up above.
You hear kind of rumbling, almost like a cat purring, in response
not
to you
good.
speaking. And then you hear a voice, and everyone above also hears a voice echoing up the chamber. Who are you that has disturbed my slumber?
Oh boy. Wow, that's a tough one. Um, uh, I would say, yeah. I think I would say
The other thing you
that.
would note at that point too is whatever just said that is very close.
Yeah.
And very, very, very large.
I would say I am an emissary that has been sent with an important message. I'm bullshitting out big time. But I'm sensing that if I'm not worth anything to it, I'll get killed.
Make a
immediately.
deception roll.
So let's see. I say deception is good. Let me see about performance. I want to. Okay, it's actually worse if I try to do a performance. I'll do a complete deception. Like that move. All right. There's a better roll. 18. That
By-
passed the kitty.
By whom has Eglin sent for me?
Oh, that's really good. I would say, of course, it was Eglin, and sent me a sent me a message to welcome you awake in this new world.
Hmm.
Good thing it's dark. You can't see me going, what the hell?
Was he ever caught?
It's a funny story that I'm sure he wants to tell you himself.
Real quick, the voice kind of after the first outburst becomes less audible. Those of you who are up above, let's kind of work out what you're doing. It's completely pitch black unless you have over 120, well over 120 vision down into the hole, which I presume is not the case at this party.
Most of us don't even have dark vision.
I have dark vision, but it's not that good.
It definitely feels like the passageway down wasn't a straight shot down. It kind of conically slopes down to a point in the middle, which is probably, if you're looking at the map there, the red ring that's kind of around the center ring is probably what the size of the bottom is. And based on Mikhail's kind of fall, he didn't fall straight down. He kind of fell sliding on the outside and then hit the ground. So it was more like a really harsh kind of like playground mistake versus an actual drop, because he's well over 100 feet below you. If he'd fallen 100 feet, it would have been a lot more than 25 damage.
Yeah. I think Summer's just mostly like confused as to why there's a big booming voice down there.
Yeah, how much of this do we hear?
Just the beginning portion. And then shifting back downstairs, since nobody was kind of immediately rushing to an action, it didn't sound like there was an impetus to kind of like, well, we gotta save him.
Not unless somebody has Featherfall. Like, if I knew that like somebody could cast Featherfall on Casey,
Mhm.
Casey would have jumped. But I don't think
Oh,
they'll
shit.
jump without
in the
knowing they'll survive 100+ foot fall.
in the darkness, Mikhail, you feel a blade kind of touch your chin, and it catches you off guard because you can't see. And then you hear the voice say, "Why aren't you looking at me? Can you not see?"
Gosh, that's a real good one. I'm wondering if I do the bluff of like, I guess I'd just say the best thing in this case is just to go with the truth and say that I can't see because I lost that power from the Lord. See what I mean? I'm just making bullshit up.
Roll
I
another,
can't.
roll another
I can't help it.
Roll another deception roll.
Yeah, this one's a crazy one. All right.
Can I like holler down the tunnel, down the
Yes.
pit?
I
Like,
still got it. I'm caught. Just a minute. I almost sold them aluminum siding.
Kyle,
Kyle.
are you down there? Are you live?
Oh, Mikhail.
Yeah, it sounds like he said Kyle.
I thought
didn't
he
it?
said
I,
Kyle.
I said Mikhail.
Mikhail.
It was the accent.
Mikhail.
Yeah. Okay. I'd say just a minute.
You feel the blade. You say the words you say, and then you kind of feel the blade kind of move away from your neck and kind of like pull away. And I want to make sure you understand like the gravity of it. Like it's like the point of a blade, right? You know what that would feel like. Kind of have an inkling as to what that would feel like on your skin in real life. The point that was touching you felt finer than those points. But there's no point that I could define that would be. It was like someone put a needle against like the sharpest of needles against your throat, and then moved it away once you replied. And then once they're about ready to respond, you hear from above what Morak said. You then feel a very kind of heavy shifting of weight that kind of moves inside of the chamber you're in. But then you also hear something very familiar to you. You hear the sound of gold coins being kind of shifted and moved on the ground beneath you. And as you're kind of like realizing that, you kind of feel your face and feel where you hit the ground, and you realize there's still a gold coin stuck to your face. You then feel the weight of it shift again as massive wings press down, pushing you down into the ground, and the form that was near you lifts up into the air. Out of the hole it comes very suddenly, a shining thing of silver that kind of causes the light that you have up at the top to just shift across it like starfire, and it appears flying directly in front of you. It lifts up to the altitude to kind of meet you at your level, and kind of shifts its wings, and you expect it to continue to flap, but it's like very loud. Its wings, very sudden, and actually very terrifying. So terrifying, in fact, that I need everyone who can see it, which would be not Mikhail, to go ahead and make a... you'd see shadows of it, Mikhail, but you wouldn't see the full glory of it. Go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
You guys can do it.
Holy shit.
Think I don't have dark vision, though.
Every time I have a dragon fear... Oh, no, there's no dark vision. There's lights up above. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's still not. It's still a 9. Still
Oh,
bad.
nice.
All right. So, Moirax, you are made of stern stuff. This is absolutely terrifying. You are frightened.
Oh.
Casey, you are also terrified of the thing that floats in front of you. And the same is true of no one else. Elizabeth and Dahave are fine.
Dahave has no sense.
The DC was 21.
I literally cannot make that save.
Natural 20 would have been fine. But yeah, as it kind of like throws its wings up and kind of goes rampant in the air, it then buffets its wings down, what looks like a downward stroke to keep it elevated, but they immediately kind of shackle behind it and kind of like fold behind it neatly, and the creature just starts kind of levitating in the air in front of you, just impressively, like in all of its shiny silver glory. And when I say silver, I mean like, think of the silver ship from Star Wars Phantom Menace. Think of like the shiniest reflective surface you can see, and that's its scales. Very beautiful and elegant looking creature that hovers before you, and it says unto you, "You've lost your emissary. I presume he was pulling one over on me when he said what he'd said. A servant of Eglin. Who are you? What is this place?"
I'm Summer. I'm the priestess at the temple here.
Hold on. Immediately, the dragon's face, like, looks like it's kind of in a somber tone, kind of like, you know, a bit grumpy maybe. But the second that you say that in response, you see like this smile appear on the dragon's face. It's very strange to see it. Like at first it's like kind of terrifying, but then it's kind of like, ew. But yeah, something about your voice causes the dragon to smile. Continue.
He must be a little drunk. Sorry about him. and sorry to wake you. Um, we didn't know you were down there. So sorry to wake you up.
Not many would have. And down there, we should be in the sky.
Definitely not.
Hmm.
So you're under our city, and we didn't know that you were down here. Weird. We didn't know this was down here. Motions to the little caves but around.
How long has the Eknis been sealed?
Don't know what that is. So probably a long time. Casey didn't even know that, and tries to see if she can see Casey behind.
Based
But
on
I
They
assume
are
that they
probably like on their knees, like groveling for their life. Like it's just like full down, like bowing, just like, oh god, don't. If I just stay still on the ground, I'm not gonna get eaten.
based on his lack of returning to this level, I assume your associate does not have the means.
to get back up. No.
More than fair. Servant of Eglin, it yells down into the pit towards Mikhail. I am going to cast a spell upon you. Do not resist. Then you see the fingertips, the claws, the razor-like blades of the fingers kind of maneuver in a very elegant form, Dahabe, for you. As a spellcaster, as like an arcane spellcaster, the power with which he wiggles the claws and speaks the tongue of dragons to cast this spell is like, it's like watching, you know, a painting being kind of painted by Da Vinci. It's like, it's insanely beautiful. The spell is cast, and you realize it's a very high level spell. Spell Reverse Gravity. Cast upon Mikhail, sending him flying or falling up. The dragon immediately seizes the spell and then lands or puts its hand underneath where Mikhail is, allowing Mikhail to land in his palm. And then very quickly shifts Mikhail to the ledge. And now you can make a wisdom saving throw because I'm still scary.
Oh, that's true. That
Not
is
that
insane.
scary.
Oh,
You'll just be
11.
standing here like
Yeah,
stunned in terror.
yeah. There's lots of screaming going on. It's
Settle.
not pretty.
Settle down on the ledge, and then once that's done, the dragon kind of leans forward, looking at you all, puffs, and then kind of starts moving towards you in this very kind of like dreamlike fashion. It's moving at you, and it feels like its form is moving through you, but at the same time shrinking, and at the same time changing, until the point when you realize it's all this weird in-between moment in some strange draconic power as it shifts form from being a dragon to being a dude. A guy is now standing on the ledge in front of you with his arms crossed, wearing ornate silver garb. It appears to be just as reflective as the dragon. He has an elvish-looking countenance, very much a handsome-looking fellow. He appears to be wearing an ornate crown that has a very Aetan kind of old human style. Slightly pointed ears, but more draconic pointy than elvish pointy. He says, "Let us deal with the introductions, and then I will ask more questions about my environs. I am Ramanon." Mikhail, as a thief, and Moirax, as a thief. Eglin is like the craziest of thieves. Ramanon was like his sidekick. So, Eglin was a god or a power that stole from other powers. And his sidekick was an ancient dragon who also did the same.
That's cute.
In thieves like parlance, if someone is really skillful with thieves tools, um, and someone asks them how quickly they do that, how they do that, and they says, "I must have Ramadan's tools." It's like an old parlance that just refers to being insanely good at breaking into things, because apparently Ramadan was good at that. Obviously, not good at breaking out of stuff though.
Rama,
You know,
Ramanan.
Ramenon. Ramenon.
maybe he
Ramen.
just didn't
Noodles
want
on.
to come out.
Yeah, maybe.
He just
Uh,
wanted a nap.
our noodle
Boy just
father.
really wanted a really long nap, and I support that.
And you,
Where are you the Ram
yes,
Ramadan?
he replied,
I'm
yes.
scared.
Well,
Yeah.
Does my knowledge of history
sorry, when he shapeshift, the fear goes away. Sorry, I forgot to mention
Oh,
that.
okay.
Oh.
Okay.
does
Was-
my knowledge of history tell me who Ramanan is?
You could make a history check to kind of factor in who it was. Thieves are, yeah, you know,
23.
everything I said
Okay.
about the Edge of the Thieves would be known to you. It's more considered a tale than like an actual, because again,
Historical.
you don't know if gods exist or powers existed, so they're more. But apparently, this dragon does exist.
Lore. The Habe would bow. Would like kind of curtsy. Greetings, Lord Ramanan. How can I kind of tell how long, like how old some of these structures are,
We
so I can give him? Huh?
we discussed that they were from the age of the War of Sword and Serpent. This is like from the Second Era, so we're
Mhm.
talking thousands of years.
We can be certain from the age of your surroundings that you have been in slumber perhaps for thousands of years.
Yes, this was supposed to have been floating in the heavens. The Eknis is not supposed to be under a city, you said?
Well, it's a town.
Interesting.
It's a large town.
How's the meeting hall?
It's great.
Historically, meeting hall would be an old-timey term for what you would consider in modernity as a tavern.
It's great. Summer doesn't drink. Unless it's temple wine.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's lovely. Would you like to see it?
Well, I would prefer that over what we're currently looking at. I suppose. Absolutely. Lead the way.
All right. Come on.
So
Let's go.
Dahabe and Summer like, yes, come on, honey, let's go.
what went from a oh my god, Mikhail's falling to his death. Oh god, there's a dragon there probably.
Now we're going to the
Oh
tavern.
wait, yeah, Mikhail. I don't want you to be like at 2 hit
Oh,
points.
he's bleeding all over the place.
Oh.
So,
Just
like
Um,
in
got 2 hit
between
points.
like being starstruck by this beautiful silver dragon, Dahabe will like turn to Mikhail and administer some arcane,
Healing.
healing
Sweet.
8 points back,
I love it.
and then return quickly back to the silver dragon like
Ooh, and I can also give him a
Mm.
handful of good berries,
dreamy.
Oh, cool.
which is 10 hit points.
Can I eat them all at once?
Doesn't say you can.
All right. I
You-
don't know what the rules that John goes by.
Lead him up through the structures, and you can see that his eyes are like just absolutely inquisitive. Like he is paying attention to every little detail of the basement, the stairs up, the structure like in its entirety, and sometimes stopping and just kind of like paying attention to just like a hinge, like on a door, or paying attention to like how the wooden structure is kind of put together. At some points, kind of like looking at it as if it's like not good, it's shoddy, but at other points looking at it and kind of seemingly interested in just this minor little bit of minutia regarding the construction of the space. You eventually get him outside, and upon stepping out, he kind of, oh, that's good. Fresh air. I had wondered why it had gotten so stuffy in the Eknus, but I suppose my answer is clear to me now. How long has this town existed?
Flips through notes. It's like,
Looks at Casey.
Oh yeah, Casey should know this.
Casey should know this.
Everyone just standing around, like, looking at Casey.
Casey's
they've been here
dissociating.
the longest.
I legitimately don't know.
61 years.
Is
Oh,
it 60? I
that's
had
what
60
that.
years in my head, but it seemed short. But yeah.
He,
3-hour tour.
in response to
61
that, says,
years.
that doesn't seem like very long at all.
The
takes
monastery
time.
at the top of the hill has existed longer.
As you kind of move around the building, Bjorkan kind of blocks sight of that area where you're standing at the door. As you kind of move towards the tavern, you would notice that he's interested in some of the things, but seemingly kind of trying to look out to where you gestured in this kind of walk. And when he finally gets a visual lock on Urmarak Mountain, he stops and just stares. Oh, of course.
Is something wrong, your silveriness?
He looks to you and says, "It's an interesting moniker. I will bear it gladly. Of course, yes, this place, what did you call this hill, this mountain that you say that
Dear Morag,
strange?
do you know it by another?
I know that it is definitely troubling to see it again. But not so that I am dissuaded from our trek to the meeting hall. I will investigate it further later, methinks. And every so often, as you're kind of moving that way, his gaze kind of moves back to the mountain. Who breathing so loud? Who it is?
It me.
It's not Kevin, he's muted.
Not to put anybody on blast. This was strange to hear. Anyways, you make it to the wolf at the gate. There are a number of Rising Sun bandits that are kind of present therein. And the council kind of enters into the space, and everyone kind of like, whoa, dignitaries. And some of them kind of shape up. A couple others start kind of making kind of crude glances at you and kind of being like they're wannabe troublemakers. Doesn't look like they're going to do anything though. But you walk over to the tavern, and again, as up until this point he has been kind of acting, Ramanan kind of is very interested in everything, very much kind of focused on looking at every little detail. Definitely looks like a tourist.
So,
He sits.
how'd you end up down there?
Well, it wasn't too far from Morag, you called it, that I was bound into the Eknus. The matter was between me and some rather annoying deities. Truth be told, I had taken something away from someone, and they were very annoyed at the matter. I took the hammer of law itself. I thought it'd be funny.
The Eknis?
No. The Eknis is a prison crafted and created by old artisans. Well, based on
Out
everything.
of character, how do you spell that?
ECKNIS.
Ah, and so you took Law's hammer. How fascinating.
It was for a time. Unfortunately, the matter wasn't well liked by my brethren. And due to what was going on at the time with their petty little war, they felt it necessary to ensure that the hammer was taken from me and used by them for their purposes of killing elves. Not something I was terribly keen on doing myself. But since my friend had been banished into the mortal realm for all eternity, and I was without a playmate, I felt it necessary to do fun things, brash things. They didn't
So-
take the hammer from me. They were stopped by some stranger. But they still bound me for my crime to ensure that the gods wouldn't bring any pain upon them or theirs. And I was put into an Eknis.
So do you have this hammer still then?
No, it was taken by the stranger. I can't recall his name, but I definitely remember what he looked like. An old mortal man. Well-kept beard, strange staff made of metal with a glass
You're
jar
talking about
filled with sand in
Cardiff.
it. I am talking about Cardiff.
Fuck.
About who now?
Arcana trained would tell you that
Ah,
Cardiff is kind of a enigma that doesn't and does exist, but you don't know the gravity of what he's done.
gotcha. So was this like some kind of magic hammer or something?
It was a god's hammer. Yes, it was forged of pure order. It was interesting to have for a time. But in retrospect, being bound into an Eknis by my brethren was not exactly my goal. Especially when the Green Matriarch came about as well to ensure that I could not escape.
The who?
In Draconic, you kind of hear or him say the name of the primordial greatest of ancient dragons, the Green Matriarch, whose name I believe was Chalkskapar. So as he utters the name perfectly to you in your ears, it's kind of like if I in real life had said somebody or said some entity that was like really important to your heritage. I don't know, like in America, if I said George Washington.
It's like I said Santa Claus.
Well, no, this one existed though, so it'd be like
Wait, what?
oh, Chalkskapar, yeah. Just...
Santa Claus doesn't exist?
Oh, sure. Sorry, I hate to break this to you, Joe.
That's fucked up.
The entity you're thinking about is known as the Crimson Knight. A belly filled like a bowl with ogre jellies. No, it's literally a thing. It's something I've done in my stupid games, and I'm
Yep.
resplendent to remind you of the dumbness that can exist in parallel, nature with everything that's awesome. Anywho, after saying that, he looks at the person who's been looking at him for a while, the barkeep, strangely, and then just says, "Yes," and the barkeep says, "Oh, did you want something to drink?" Ramana says, "Oh, yes, please." Barkeep says, "What will you have?" Ramanan, confused. Whatever you've got. I didn't know there were choices to be made. Ale. The barkeep, annoyed, kind of moves away and starts getting him a drink.
The finest ale that you have, barkeep.
Of course. This appears to be somebody important. Miss Lorekeeper? Of course. So, Ramanan kind of looks to the group again, waiting for the drink. Then says, "The mountain over that way. I knew it by another name. It was known as Isolingdar. It
Not
was
ringing a
a
bell.
walking mountain, forged out of the very essence of Earth itself, crystallized with the frost breath of the plane of air, and filled with the heart of a god. One of the Triumvirate's first children. An unwanted one, mind you. But nonetheless, potent. It was my hope, prior to being accosted by my brethren and Chokra Skafar, to make it a mountain once and for all. That didn't happen, and the stranger said that it was already taken care of. I knew for a fact that Isolingdar was not taken care of. That couldn't have happened. It's something that can be done without, I would think, Amon Kreber, which is out of character, the name of the hammer. But here we are, and the mountain doesn't seem to be moving. Have you ever seen it move in your 60 years here?
Wait, you mean walking mountain? Like it moves?
Right. That
It's never done that.
okay, good. And just to be sure. Yeah. Okay, I see. It wasn't so much that you didn't understand what walking meant. It was because you were confused that a mountain could walk. Sorry. Apologies.
Yes.
Obviously, we're coming at this from very different vantage points. Mountains walking is not terribly uncommon, but Isolingdar was impossibly large compared to other titans. Well, not really a titan itself, I guess. It's more than. Anyways, the point is it appears to not be alive anymore.
Or maybe it's taking a nap?
Suppose I was as well, but I would think that it would be bound if that were the case.
Would it be bound?
I don't know. I guess anything's possible.
Is there a way to know?
I would have to investigate. I do think that, based on everyone's initial glances at me, it would probably not be responsible or well liked if I were to just revert to my draconic form and fly about.
That would probably cause a bit of commotion.
Fair.
Yeah.
More than fair. Well then, fine. I suppose I can investigate on foot at a later point, or maybe move outside of the town during nightfall and then transform. I can be quite stealthy when I want to be. At this point, the barkeep sets the beer in front of him. Oh, thank you, good sir. Drinks the whole thing, sets it back down. In like an impossibly quick kind of fashion. Like the glugs weren't present. There wasn't glugs. It was just a constant
Quicker
Bro,
than a
open
frat boy
door.
at a.
Yeah, it just poured it down his throat. And
Yeah.
you look at the
You can
barkeep
open
kind of
your
like
throat and just take it.
you look
Down
at
the gullet.
you look at the barkeep kind of like confused. Another Ramanan says. Oh. Not bad. Not quite dwarvish, but good. So, I suppose that I'd probably be getting on and doing whatever I wanted, but with my horde currently present underneath your town, I assume that you are at least some form of management of the town. Is that fair
Yeah.
to say?
You could put it that way.
Yeah.
We're part of the council.
Everyone seems to be showing you proper deference here in this meeting hall, so.
Better.
Okay. Whoa, Casey. Whoa. Just because you ain't scared anymore.
I also noticed that the walls on your western side seem to be manned with quite a bit of armed people.
That is a great observation. We are currently preparing for what could be a devastating and prolonged war.
Well, that sucks.
Especially since your horde's under the town.
Oh, no, I don't disagree. I very much understand that an army would be a very annoying source of robbery. It has happened to my brethren in the past. Well, in the very, very far past. My past. Yours even more so. A lot of pasts. Past. The next beer is set in front of him. Thank you.
You'll get used to the time change. It'll be fine.
It's jet lag.
Yeah, it's jet lag.
From thousands and thousands of years of sleep.
You see him kind of set the cup back down, and as he kind of places his finger on top of it, his finger changes into a more like dragonborn like finger. He kind of pushes the mug towards the barkeep, and he says, "Maybe 3 more in different steins." And the barkeep kind of looks at him, like locks eyes with him, and you can look at like from the side. Ramanan appears to have this very serious kind of just look in his eyes. The barkeep looks down at his finger, looks at him, looks down at his finger. Yeah, I'll get those.
Just get him a keg at this point.
So who are we fighting?
They're known as the Denisatvans. Were they around when you were here?
Is that not who you folk are?
No. Sorry.
What's the name of this country that your town resides in?
Great question.
More of an
Janaris.
autonomous zone.
Jurnaris?
Janaris, yeah. That's it.
Is it Jurnaris?
Yeah.
Janaris.
Janaris.
Jurnaris.
Jurnaris. That's a very interesting word. Jurnaris. It's almost draconic, but it's not quite. Very interesting wordplay from you folk.
It's Russian. No, just kidding.
What does it sound like in Draconic?
Jurnaris, it doesn't sound like anything but it definitely sounds draconic. Like, I'm trying to think of like a good English word that sounds English but isn't English. I'm trying to think of a funny one, and it's not immediately coming to my mind. But I did have an example earlier in the game, like back when you first stumbled upon the lair but didn't open it. Um, but yeah,
Oops.
I can't think of a good one. There's definitely a word that's not on the top of my mind right now.
Like fiance.
Yeah, like fiance. It sounds, although,
It's a French word,
but
and
it's,
but like
well, more so like it's like a made up word. It's like a made uppy word, but it
yeah.
sounds like it fits, right? So I'm trying to think. It's more like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's like a word
Mhm.
that has no meaning other than it's just a long word. And so Jernaris to Ramanon, and now in thinking about it, not something that you puzzled out prior to Ramanon pointing it out, but it does sound draconic. But it
But
doesn't
in a
mean anything.
meaningless way.
It doesn't mean anything. It's just
Hmm.
gibberish. And he
Well, that's fun.
kind of smiles at that. The Denisotvis country is where Isilingdar reigned aeons ago, according to what you've told me. The Denisotvins were the people that resided in this country. They were servants of the dragon. It was always the hope of a number of my brethren to utilize Isilingdar and a couple of others in their war against the elves. Unfortunately, by the time I had grown disinterested in it and lost my good friend Eglin to his sloppiness, getting caught and all of that, I really didn't care much for the company that my brethren were keeping. I started falling in league with powers that were unsavory, to be sure. I believe the word that they were called was, in common, fiend?
Mm-hmm.
In the Draconic, it was Tonari. A foul lot, to be sure. Beings that came from some space beyond the material. Some space in the astral sea. Some space where Eglin was fond of going, but I never went. Well, but the once. That's where the Eknesis came from. He gestures to the counter just as the drinks are kind of placed. Picks the stein up, or the mug, and very quickly downs the beverage, and then kind of holds the cup in his hand, kind of thoughtfully looking at it. They would float in the sky, and whatever anyone wished to put into them, they could. And in their strange way, they would be sealed on the tops, forming a gate, an impenetrable means of entry or exit. I was put in one because of my hammer shenanigans. I don't think they left me with everything I was due in my hoard. Probably what they felt suitable enough to keep me comfortable during my time within. Sets the cup down, grabs the second one, drinks it. Sets it down, grabs the third one, drinks it.
So you don't side with the Denisotvins then?
Kind of lets out a... As he ponders the question and finishes his beverage and says, No, I don't really side with anyone. I've formed no allegiances thus far. Obviously, there's the assumed one that we're dancing around here. You have a town, it's built on top of my now lair. Um, and I obviously have a self defense mechanism in me, as all dragons would, to defend my horde. It is a bit sparse, mind you, so if you're interested in any donations, I certainly would grant you the means of giving me gifts to add to my horde. You see him kind of like start kind of shifting his teeth for a second, and then like licking like a slightly larger fang than you were expecting to be in his mouth, and then he kind of says, "Ah, ignore that. You have no. You owe me nothing."
Fiction money.
You know that dragons, like true dragons, have draconic greed. They have a desire to fill their horde, and sometimes it's kind of overwhelming.
Like
But
an addiction.
yeah. He kind of like pushes it aside and says, "These Denisothans that plague you, I will do my best to assist you in defending the town, I suppose. But I don't think I wish to stay here."
Is there a way that you can move your layer?
No,
Or is
to be certain, of course. I do wish to investigate a bit more about Isilingdar since I'm here. But beyond that, I have a lot to catch up on. Even just now in this town, I've noticed that the means for masonry have changed significantly. It seems that the mortar that you use is of a different substance than I remember it being in my age. And also, there was reinforcements inside of that basement that I haven't seen before. Strange architecture, to be sure. Possibly new means of barring me from going wherever I want. Things I have to learn and understand to move about this world freely as I once did.
Well, our lore master, she knows many things and has many books that might be able to help.
Oh,
Right, Dahabe?
Right?
well, it does sound like you're being a bit apprehensive with your friend's notation of your lore. Are you not willing to share?
Oh, we're always willing to share information and knowledge.
Oh, I apologize for misreading you. It just seemed that you were apprehensive, is all.
No.
That's strange to be sure. It has been so long, perhaps maybe the normal cues of social interaction have changed. Is laughter still a thing?
I think what you're detecting is the overhanging sense of doom that comes with being in conflict with a devastatingly powerful army.
Oh. Well, no, you're fine now.
Oh,
It should
okay.
be okay. I would think. Um, I think that I'm going to investigate my horde to see what was left for me. And after that, as I feels that it is getting later in the day and perhaps closing to evening, once darkness falls, that still happens, right?
Yes.
Do
Yeah.
both moons still set in the sky? Something you didn't know about my
Yes.
campaign setting that you're probably learning for the first time here.
I vaguely remember.
2 moons.
Yeah, that's right. And there are 2 moons. Was there more?
There's a third one, but it only shows up in very rare
That's
occasions.
it. Okay.
He says, once the darkness sets to the sky, I will leave your town closer to the mountain, and then I will take flight and inspect the mountain to answer some questions of my own regarding Isilingdar, or Urmorag, as you said. You see him kind of stop for a second and puzzle. I would also like to, after my flight, Dahabe, I would like to start reading a bit. I think if you have anything regarding fairy lore, would very much like to take that into account.
I'm sure I can pull something up.
Name keeps bugging me too. Urmarak. I will go inspect my hoard and be on my way. Thank you so much, Master of the Meeting Hall, for your sufficient ale. He stands up. Kind of
Shade.
starts leaving. I'm assuming nobody kind of rushes to bar him, and nobody has any other questions for him, right?
Not at the moment.
Kevin.
No, wait. Oh no.
No, I better not say anything. So I think we're good.
He leaves. And heads back to Bjorkan's. You sitting in the wolf at the gate. I mean, you do see that there are a couple of Rising Suns who are present and have been present. Those would be Dusk's gang. And the barkeep kind of like leans over to. I would presume that Morax would probably be the person he's most familiar with. Or no, Mikhail would probably be the person he's most familiar with, to be completely honest.
Hell yeah.
The wines on stock are, yeah,
All
they're,
sourced from Mikhail.
they're all
That's
fine.
right.
He says to Mikhail, kind of just like in a familiar tone, and says, "Who was that guy?"
Was he referring to the dragon guy?
Yeah.
I would say he's just a new resident in town, and we're just trying to
Hell of a time.
find out a little bit more about him.
Hell of a time to move to Gateneath, don't you think?
Yeah, you're telling me.
Well, if he's as useful in the coming problems as he is in putting away those ales, then kind of stares
Yep.
at the cups and like grabs them all up at the same time and moves them towards the cleaning basin.
Yeah, he's gonna keep the dishwashers in business.
Yeah.
Supposing we should probably pay for his beers that he just drank.
I don't think the
too.
council is like. I don't think the council probably has to pay for anything.
You're probably not
You've
charged.
got the magnate there. Like I'm sure,
Yeah.
like any kind of minor payment or minor like discrepancies in funds are going to be squabbled over. No
Okay.
point. No sense in doing it.
Yeah, if people don't abuse it, it's not a problem. It's just once somebody
Mhm.
starts abusing it, then it gets bad.
Oh yeah. But yeah, leaving that to you. You have a dragon under your town, and he seems nice. At least I think
Yeah.
he does.
Until he doesn't get his way. He gets locked up.
Well,
We just need to throw a coin at him every now and
Yeah.
again.
Arcana, history, or even nature would tell you that silver dragons are not like horribly unpleasant. They're the friendliest and most social of metallic dragons, which are normally the most kind of societally kind of indentured, not like self-serving tyrants like chromatic dragons
Mhm.
or like weird, awkward sociopaths like gem dragons.
Weird.
They're not evil. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not good. They're just like, just weird, you know?
They just like shiny things.
No. The topaz, or not topaz, not
The
topaz specifically.
gem dragons.
Gem dragons are
Gem
just enigmas compared to the binary of good evil that you have with metallic.
Chromatic.
And chromatic.
Metallic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're that weird in between that doesn't really care.
Yeah, there's kind of chill dudes, right?
Yeah, you know when some new player is like, oh yeah, I want to play a chaotic neutral character. They're that guy.
Hmm.
What I mean is that they want to do whatever they want. They just want to do whatever they want.
I
what
thought
I
bait
want.
was fun.
I
It was great.
thought thought he was funnier when he got reintroduced in the Friday game.
For like a total of 2 seconds.
Yeah. Shut the door behind him. But yeah,
Not fighting that one.
I would say by nightfall, you would receive, you would have noted that knight errants have returned. A couple of them have returned and are treating with Evangeline. I assume Dahabe would be kind of in presence with that meeting. And I'll be honest, even with the dragon discussion, it sounds like we've kind of tied up all the stuff I was interested in. Kind of.
Didn't Dahabe send for someone that's
Oh
supposed
yeah,
to
yeah,
arrive?
yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, don't we need to do that first?
Let's do that. Thank you so much.
I don't know if Shijo
like-
is here, but yeah,
Shijo
that
stepped
is
away.
a thing. Yeah,
No,
that
thank you,
does
thank you.
need to get resolved. I'm sorry.
So Estrid does not arrive by normal means, and I kind of want to wait for Jijo to get back to get to that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try. BSVK I assume means back. Okay, that works. So Estrid,
Sorry, gay typing.
Gay
Estrid,
typing.
Estrid does not arrive by normal means. Instead, you get a ping. One that you haven't gotten before that relates to the tower. So typically you kind of get pings regarding like people trying to aggress, if someone's at your door, all these other kind of things. But this new ping is one that you were never instructed on. So who would you go, again, it's later in the day. You haven't yet treated with Evangeline regarding the thing I was saying about the Knights Errant returning. There's just this, in the evening time, a ping that pops into your head regarding the tower. What would you do?
Muted.
Wow. You're muted.
Hello?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. Am I at the tower?
Can be.
Yeah, I've gone back to the tower to start pulling files on fairy stuff.
Okay.
So I hear the ping.
Okay.
What is that? Dahabe says to nobody.
If you kind of start like, investigating about the tower,
Yeah.
you kind of end up kind of moving towards the top of the tower. And
Mhm.
at that point, upon arriving there, you realize that there are people in there.
Oh.
Oh, weird. Did it not shift to the tower?
Yeah, I'm at the tower.
in the tower.
Yes.
There's no
Why-
people though.
But why am I not there?
We're all
Are you lost?
Oh no, the
Oh
dungeon
no,
master's
Roll20 is being
lost.
dumb again.
Oh no.
It's fine.
Dumb. All
There
I
it
saw was
goes.
a
Okay.
building.
So you end up in the top of the tower, and when you get there, the 4 suits of armor are filled with knights, and there are 2 other people standing in the room, kind of just standing on the rug, kind of waiting for you. The 2 people in question, one of them is Estrid, holding a bunch of books, and then the other one is Roderick, who, if you recall, was the brigadier.
That's the other one I was trying to call, but I couldn't remember who he was. Okay.
Absolutely not a problem. So Roderick kind of looks to you and says, "Milady Lorekeeper, we received your message. We arrived in the best time that we could. We were sent here by the hedge mage."
Well, it is great to see both of you. It has definitely been a bizarre 24 hours.
I will not be remaining. I have duties back at the monastery. Estrid will supplant these books here, and they will be for your safekeeping. However, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a single platinum key, turns around, moves to the box behind him, unlocks the treasure chest, opening it, and grabs the book inside. He says, "For safekeeping during these troubled times, We will return the book to the monastery. We thank you for your protection thus far over the book. However, for now, we must relinquish your charge. He takes the book into his hands. She looks to you and says, "Where can I place these?"
Let's take him downstairs. She'll take like the other half, and we can just go stash them somewhere.
Okay. And you head down there. The four knights look to you and say, they look familiar to you, by the way. They're not just random people you've never met. They would be, I'm going to my knights.
How did y'all get in here?
Did Billy not inform you that we have complete access to the top floor whenever we wish?
Millie never tells me anything important.
You should have
That's
received
okay.
You should have received an alarm if you were given the floor
I got the
keeper's tower
alarm.
key.
I got the alarm.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, that's what that means. Moving forward, we can appear here, and you, of course, have the ability to return to us if need be, but only if you can somehow communicate that you request to be invited back. This room, there's no arcane manner for you to move from this point to the monastery. However, the monastery can draw you to it.
Ah, understood.
Not exactly easy, though, which is why we don't use it unless we're doing so in an emergency, such as this. These four knights will remain with you under Roman's charge. They will serve the matriarch to the best of their ability.
Yes, thank you. Roman should be in the keep now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they can go along to go to the keep
And
to meet up with Roman.
yeah, the four knights in question were four knights whose names I can't seem to find in my notes.
Okay.
It's probably that son of a bitch. It's probably Bradicus and Chaticus.
Bradicus and Chaticus, of
Yeah.
course.
They go. Estrid goes with you.
Before what's his name leaves.
Oh, he's not leaving without Estrid.
Okay, they're both leaving.
Yeah.
They're leaving. Also, before you two leave, there's we found a dragon.
What now?
Yeah, we were inspecting the cavern beneath the town, and there was a little switch that got opened, and there was a dragon in there, a silver dragon.
Under the town.
Under the town, that's correct. So far he seems very friendly. He does seem interested in exploring Irmorag, so be on the lookout.
Did the dragon have a name?
He claims to be Ramanan.
It's a name that sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
It's a legendary figure in history.
You and Estrid actually start talking back and forth, like filling in the gaps of one another's story, as the two of you basically tell Roderick who Ramanan is, and he kind of nods his head. Interesting, to be sure. I don't think that poses too much of a problem if you say he's friendly. I would suggest that the matriarch entreat with him and perhaps try and sway him to our cause. I will report this, of course, to the abbess and see if she is of a like mind. If it is a problem or a matter that is of interest to her, I'm certain you will quickly hear about it.
He's very charming and very polite.
Silver dragons I like to be. I once...
Just don't want you to be caught unawares.
Of course. I once rode a silver dragon. During my youth. Anyway,
Roderick, that's... A story for another time.
Of course. Not. He then kind of shrugs. Estrid says, with all the lore I was able to muster in such short notice, the abbess has been quite busy of late. But Landolf was good enough to make the mechanism work and bring us here, and will be returning us back once I send him a notice. Is there anything else that you might need, or any messages you'd like to convey other than what we've already told Roderick? I will make sure it's precise, by the way. Is there anything that you would like to transfer up the mountain?
Can anybody be my conscience really quick? In case there's something we want to tell the... I know this is kind of meta, but
No, yeah, absolutely, it's fine. I'm okay.
my brain is
I'm okay with that.
googly
Sometimes the best notes you take are the ones that you
that someone else takes.
that Andy
That Elizabeth takes or Zach takes.
I haven't been
usually
good
Andy.
at finding my info and my.
Okay, nobody's
today,
going like,
so-
oh yeah, we gotta tell them da 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 da. So
Yeah.
we'll say
I don't think that there is.
that's it. I ain't got nothing else.
So, after that point, the four knights would kind of
Wait, do they know that we have dusk?
nope.
Okay. We also would like to let you know that we are. Wait, did we capture him? Yes.
No, we
He
didn't capture
surrendered
him.
No.
He's-
to us.
Oh, Dust surrendered,
and we're
and
kind
they.
of like.
Roderick kind of confused. Who is Dusk? And then Estrid and you kind of do the same thing that happened before, as you kind of explained to Roderick.
Here's some bandit running
Yeah.
around, fucking shit up.
So
Is
he's
now our friend. It's the Joker.
in reply. He
We
said,
we have the Joker
We have
now.
the Joker now. We've got a dragon, sex man. We have.
Sex man,
He's a handsome.
Jonathan.
He's a handsome, shiny
Not
boy.
a sex man.
He's
You haven't given us a picture.
I haven't drawn it.
Where's the picture?
He's gonna have better
Elizabeth.
abs than Golridier.
No.
I mean, abs are not what makes a man sexy.
But imagine
But
reflective
it helps.
abs, though.
It helps,
Like
I guess.
shiny, reflective abs.
I don't know.
John's
This is
just gonna
going a
take
weird
Right.
direction
Gordier's
now.
abs and then
Yeah.
put them on a metal man.
Kevin. Yeah.
I'm not thinking about her shiny abs.
This is going somewhere. I don't know where this is going.
Anyways, the point, that's not that point, but the point that Roderick does not seem to know who Dusk is or care. And
All right, cool.
he then says, if they are assisting the matriarch in her endeavors, then of course I will pass the message along. And Estrid kind of leans in, I'll pass the message along. And
Thank you.
What would we do without Estrid?
she's the real courier. She's the real messenger.
The brains behind the operation.
But at that,
Yeah.
Roderick and Estrid would return back up the mountain. They would basically use, or you would see them use a sending stone, not a calling stone, to contact Landolf. And upon doing so, would be just basically ripped up the mountain. You just see them kind of whoosh, like Harry Potter teleports. It's violent looking.
Whoa, whoa.
What?
Oh, Ron got squelched
Oh no.
or squinched, whatever it was.
Squinched.
Winched.
But yeah, after that point, I was saying, like, once that kind of communication is done, you have the books. I will be dropping a massive lore dump on you once I kind of finish writing. I've been kind of doing cyberpunk stuff, and I'm sorry.
Cyberpunk.
Don't be
stuff.
sorry.
It's fine. But I will type a big, long, just diatribe of Dennis Otvin lore, which you would basically now have in those books.
Yay.
The other things that would happen, unless anybody has anything else, thank you, by the way, Zach, for reminding me of that exchange. It was super important. Is there anything else that you think needs to be done before we kind of deal with the Evangeline aspect, which will be the Knights Errant reporting to her regarding what they've seen?
think that there's anything else.
Okay.
That's next on the docket.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of the end of the day, and I don't want to close out like with nothing, but it very much kind of falls on Evangeline regarding the not the micromanage, but the big term management
Yeah.
at the end there. So if you're watching this, Magpie, just know that the onus is on you next session. So I will preemptively mentally kind of plan for you not being there. I didn't do so today though. I honestly didn't think we were going to make it this far. There was a lot of things that worked out really well, smoothly, and narratively good. I'm happy with all of that. But yeah, I will see. I think that's a pretty good stopping point. I know we're a little early, but I can't think of anything else. I'd like to
I
add.
honestly could use the early stop.
No worries.
Everyone
Okay.
did a great job.
Lots of cats
Yeah.
and dogs. Thanks for watching those that did, and we'll see you next Tuesday. I think. Yeah, everybody good next Tuesday.
Yeah.
See you
Should
next
be.
Tuesday.